It's time for we became a world-class tourism destination, and this is a key part to it. We're building the tourism infrastructure, over 1,100 hotel rooms, 50 bars and restaurants, conference facilities. This is about making a statement to the globe. Come visit Brisbane, we're an amazing city. It's going to be something everyone in Queensland can be proud of. This precinct is going to change the face of Brisbane forever.
Queen's Wharf is a name you've probably heard of by now. In July 2015, a group called Destination Brisbane Consortium won the right to develop the multi-billion-dollar project on the historic North Bank of our city. Queen's Wharf marks a place where Brisbane began 180 years ago. And just as South Bank did for Brisbane in the early 90s, this development across the opposite side of the Brisbane River will continue to make the most of our beautiful town and truly make it into Australia's new world city. Over the next half an hour, we will discover exactly what is happening with the redevelopment of the historic Queen's Wharf precinct and what it will mean to all of us. Questions like, how long will the project take? What changes will be made? And how will we benefit from these changes? All will be answered by the many different stakeholders involved in this monumental project.
There's over 8,000 ongoing jobs for local people who work and live in Brisbane. And of course, even during the construction stage, that's 2,000 jobs starting early in 2017.
Jeff Hogg is the Managing Director of Echo Entertainment Queensland. They lead the consortium behind the transformational redevelopment of Queen's Wharf, Brisbane.
This whole development's about connecting the city. We're selling the whole of Brisbane. And when you stand here at South Bank, go back to 1988 when Expo, Brisbane changed. And we're also proud of this. Well, this is the next development that complements that, and everyone will be so proud of how both of these precincts work together. So what we've done is created a pedestrian link bridge between them.
Now, Jeff, I know that it's all amazing, but if you had to name a personal favourite part of the development, what would it be?
Well, I think everyone likes the new iconic buildings, but I like the fact that the precinct embraces the old and the new. We've got all our heritage of the Brisbane. When you look at the river here, our city started on the river's edge. Our first heritage buildings are in this precinct, and we get to open them up for everyone.
The Queen's Wharf redevelopment site is on state-owned land, essentially stretching between the Brisbane River and George Street, and also between Alice and Queen Street. The entire area takes up approximately 1/10 of the CBD. The area contains significant heritage buildings, underutilised government offices, as well as this stretch of neglected riverfront land under the Riverside Expressway. But first, a bit about Echo Entertainment. Who are they? Well, most of us would know the group best as the owner and operator of the current Treasury Casino and Hotel in Brisbane, Jupiter's Hotel and Casino on the Gold Coast, and the Star in Sydney. What many of us will not know is that Echo Entertainment is an ASX 100 listed company that also has pretty significant community partnerships. The likes of Surf Lifesaving Queensland, the Cerebral Palsy League, and Ronald McDonald House. Matt Beckier is the CEO.
We'll expect to start construction in 2017. It's about a 5-year build. So in the first year, we'll be taking down the existing buildings, non-heritage buildings, and we will be digging down for a year. It'll be about 2020 by the time we're back up at ground level, and we expect the precinct or the development to open up by 2022.
And come 2022, Brisbane will be home to 5 new hotels, including the Ritz-Carlton and the Rosewood. The Rosewood Hotel and residential tower will stand tall beside the arc-shaped building that has become the signature feature of this development. In addition, there'll be 50 restaurants and bars, plenty of public space, an upmarket retail centre and a pedestrian bridge directly linking the centre of Queen's Wharf to QPAC and South Bank. Echo's winning design is all about connecting the key areas of Brisbane CBD via a precinct that perfectly integrates hotels, a casino resort, public space, shopping and dining.
But probably most excitingly, it will totally redefine the centre of Brisbane and create a huge opportunity for everybody who lives in Brisbane and comes to visit Brisbane, because we have a large agglomeration of entertainment facilities all come together that are publicly accessible.
It appears as if Queen's Wharf redevelopment is in good hands with Echo Entertainment Group. And so after the break, we're going to find out how we, the people of Brisbane, can directly benefit from this enormous undertaking. What is it that we all love about Brisbane? Well, it is our weather, for one, our laid-back lifestyle, and not to mention our booming dining and shopping scene. So if you combine all of these in one location, you'll probably end up with Queen's Wharf. We're talking about more than 7 hectares of new and revitalised public space. That's the equivalent of 12 football fields in size. And that area is all for our use. There will be 3 major event spaces having the capacity to cater to up to 60,000 people, from large-scale events, the likes of New Year's Eve, to accessing the iconic arc-shaped sky deck. This is the level that the sky deck will be built on, which is a public space. So could you imagine this view for Riverfire? I'm 102 metres above the river on the 25th level of 1 William Street, a government building neighbouring the Queen's Wharf precinct. In addition to the Skydeck platform and lounge area, the Arc building will also house the Darling Hotel, a new 6-star hotel, restaurants, pools and the new casino. This part of the development is what is being referred to as the integrated resort. As for the old casino, which is currently housed in the Treasury building, it is being completely repurposed into a high-end shopping centre. The retail area will continue underground beneath Queen's Park and linking into the rest of the Queen's Wharf precinct. The development is attracting some pretty high-profile chefs and their hatted fine dining restaurants, the likes of Teague Izzard and Luke Newen.
The food scene, the restaurant scene in Queensland is really growing. I thought it was a great opportunity for me to take the fat noodle concept to Queensland and to Brisbane. So we're there in the Treasury at the moment, and we've been there for almost 2 years now in December, and I love it there. I love the people, I love the atmosphere there, the ambience, and people embrace my food.
Now, all this planning and development obviously doesn't happen overnight. There's some serious thought and consultation that goes into a development like Queen's Wharf. And that's where the likes of Bevan Lynch comes in. Bevan is an architect and founding principal of ML Design, an architecture and master planning firm. He's also the chair of City Council's Urban Futures Brisbane Board.
It became very obvious to us very early that, as a point of difference in the Destination Brisbane Consortium's bid, that they uniquely could connect the new precinct right through to Queen Street. And in terms of the CBD working as an integrated entity, that was really, we thought, critically important. So I guess when the public look at this successful bid by Destination Brisbane Consortium, there has been a lot of focus on the new sky deck that's going to be an absolutely fantastic asset for the city. It'll be the photo opportunity that everybody will take advantage of. Importantly is just what happens at the ground plane. There has been some concern about, that I've sensed that the casino is an internally focused activity, but the reality is that the casino component of this development is around 5% of the total built form. We really are quite excited about how some of the current terrific buildings, which were the heart of old Brisbane, those buildings exist. They've been generally well maintained, but they've been underutilised, and we think that by breathing new life into these beautiful old historic buildings, having the budget to properly restore them and repair them, and to repurpose them so that people actually get to use them again. We think it's very exciting. And then what we finally then will have in the completed project is true connectivity from the Queen Street Mall right through to the Parliamentary Precinct and the Botanic Gardens. And then, of course, a very, I suppose, terrific opportunity, which we finally have, to connect the precinct down under the freeway to the river edge. And there's a lot of work being done in terms of creating great public spaces along the river edge on the northern bank of the river. And then, of course, a new pedestrian bridge which links from the heart of our 24/7 entertainment precinct across to the cultural precinct at South Bank. That now means that the city connects in a rather terrific way through an existing heritage-dominated precinct, a precinct which many people don't get to use or see because it doesn't offer facilities and activities that attract people to them, and to repurpose them so that people actually get to use them again. We think it's very exciting.
And speaking of heritage precincts, after the break, we will have a look at the historic sites that will be repurposed and reactivated within the Queen's Wharf development.
It's very much a dormant part of the city, but when it's complete, there'll be 7.9 hectares of public realm. And a lot of that will be through the heritage buildings and places.
The frontier town of Brisbane was shaped by the Brisbane River. Our city's early growth and development was primarily formed by the endeavours and aspirations of the people who traded, lived and worked along the north bank of the river. And fortunately, a number of the early sites remain to this day. This building was originally built as an immigration depot back in the 1860s. On arrival here to Brisbane, migrants were temporarily housed here until they could find work or residence. And this is just one of the 11 major heritage sites located in the Queen's Wharf precinct. Its future is to house offices, galleries, bars and restaurants. Currently, it is home to the headquarters of the National Trust of Queensland. Now, Jonathan, what sort of things do the National Trust take into consideration with being a part of a development like this?
Well, first of all, we really think it's important that anybody that's looking at a development like this really understands the historic significance of any sort of place. But this is really the birthplace of Brisbane, so they really have to understand what's come before they can start thinking about what they're going to do in the future.
Jonathan Fisher is the CEO of the National Trust of Queensland and has been involved in the consultation and development phase of the Queen's Wharf project.
What this will do is open up these buildings much more to the general public. Certainly one of the key components of the design is to make sure that these buildings are more publicly accessible, and certainly the grounds around them are a lot more in tune with the history of the place.
Well, as President of the Royal Historical Society of Queensland, we are very, very enthusiastic and thrilled about what is going to happen on this, the historic North Bank of Brisbane. It will mean a huge influx of new people who've never seen this area before. Well, the Commissariat was the original storehouse for the new Moreton Bay Penal Settlement, which settled here in May 1825. It has retained the bulk of its originality. The building you look at today is not a heck of a lot different to what it looked like to Captain Logan back in 1829. We're very excited for the future and for the maintenance of the heritage buildings in this sector.
We are confident that Echo get it, they understand the importance of taking care, so we're looking forward to working our way through this progress and getting a really good outcome.
Some other well-known landmarks within the redevelopment precinct include the beautiful Victorian buildings known as the Mansions on the corner of George and Margaret Streets, where politicians of the time used to stay, and Harris Terrace on the opposite corner. These buildings will be repurposed into apartments, fresh food markets, restaurants, bars and commercial offices. This development is the largest stage construction in Brisbane since Southbank in the early 90s. It's also the biggest change to, let's face it, tired George Street since the construction of the Parliamentary Annex in the 70s. So obviously, such a big decision required the backing of the government.
This is a transformation project. It's going to mean extra tourism here into Queensland, and the flow-on effects will be felt for decades to come.
It'll provide vast economic benefits for the people of Queensland. We're talking 8,000 jobs, and they're very important jobs for us. But it's not just that. It creates a world city. It creates a place where everyone in Queensland and in Brisbane will want to go. It takes Brisbane history with it. It will open up that precinct. People will walk past those buildings. Those buildings will be now open, accessible, repurposed, and they'll have a story to tell. So people will be able to look and live the history of Brisbane all at this precinct. This will be the mark of Brisbane. People will look at Queen's Wharf and go, that is Brisbane. They'll be able to recognise it so well.
And after the break, we'll find out what some of the leaders in Queensland's tourism industry think of the development and how they believe Queen's Wharf will in fact forever change Brisbane. Queen's Wharf will be the hub that connects the defining parts of our city, from the top of the mall to the Botanic Gardens to Southbank and the Brisbane River. The project's completion is still 7 years away. Construction is not commencing until 2017, with the expectation that it will take 5 years. The 2022 Brisbane will be a very different Brisbane from the one that we are familiar with today. A city that will be instantly recognisable worldwide, and a place of which we will all be incredibly proud.
It will give us an opportunity to really compete on a high level with the great destinations of the world. Visitors go to cities to partake in the life, to partake in the activities that that city offers. Places where the locals are excited about what they have and what they can do. And if we can share that in a beautiful environment, in a high quality environment like Queen's Wharf will deliver to us, then I think it's a benefit not just to the locals but also to the visitors, of course.
I think the opportunity to have another piece of connectivity in terms of a bridge from the Queen's Wharf precinct to this precinct on Southbank, it'll be a wonderful thing. All the offerings of the Queen's Wharf precinct, the new offerings, will complement the QPAC precinct in a significant way. What we're trying to do is encourage as many international guests to this part of the world, and working together, and the offerings that we both offer from what's here around the QPAC precinct, connecting with the gallery and the museum, will really complement what's happening across the river at Queen's Wharf.
From what is currently a highly underutilised part of Brisbane, from an urban planning perspective, it will liven up the heritage buildings and places. It'll bring it to life. It'll allow people to walk through, to stop, to gaze, and taking the magnificence of the heritage buildings and the spaces all the way down to the river. The Queen's Wharf precinct is about showcasing not only the birthplace of Brisbane, but the grandest collection of heritage spaces in Australia.
We see all of a sudden our river city being truly seen as what it is. It's this great big central park that we have that exists between the north bank and the south bank of the river, truly activated.
As a Brisbane greeter, this is so exciting because this is a very underutilised part of the city. I'd love to bring people here because of the historic nature of this part of town, but you very rarely see people here during the day, and at night it's even worse. So this development will become a hub for the city of Brisbane, and it'll just link the Queen Street Mall, the City Botanic Gardens, the Parliamentary Precinct, Southbank Parklands, the Cultural Centre, and straight down Russell Street to West End. So it just couldn't be any better.
You know, in marketing, it's the art of telling a story so compelling that people choose you. I think Queen's Wharf is going to be one of those iconic buildings, precincts, that's going to allow us to tell a story so compelling that people want to come and see it, just like they've done in Singapore and Marina Bay Sands. I think Queen's Wharf is going to really be an iconic landmark that people of Brisbane are going to be so proud to show off.
I know this word has already been used today, but transformative is the best way to describe what Queen's Wharf means to Brisbane. And I, for one, am really looking forward to the changes it'll make to our city. So who knows, come 2022, I might bump into you on the Sky Deck one beautiful evening. So here's to Brisbane, Australia's new world city. Thank you for your company. Good night.